This is the story of Elias Vance, the architect of paper boats. Elias Vance was born on a Tuesday in the quiet, rain-washed town of Oak Haven. His childhood wasn't marked by grand adventures or dramatic events, but by a relentless, quiet curiosity. He was the kind of boy who'd spend an entire afternoon dismantling a broken clock just to understand the click and whir of its heart. His first love was paper. Not the words printed on it, but the clean, crisp plane of the sheet itself. While other children chased balls, Elias folded. He transformed dull, square sheets into perfect cranes, darting swallows, and most famously, paper boats. His creations, sealed with a dab of wax pilfered from his mother's candle drawer, were the most seaworthy on the murky puddles after a summer storm. He wasn't just folding, he was learning about structure, balance, and the physics of wind and water in miniature. He was, unknowingly, an architect of the delicate and temporary. The blueprint of a life. The transition from paper to steel and glass was seamless. Elias excelled in engineering, his paper boat knowledge blooming into an intuitive understanding of stress loads and material resistance. He entered the world of structural engineering not for the money, but for the profound satisfaction of turning an abstract idea into a towering reality. His early career was a grind of late nights and coffee-stained blueprints. He worked on bridges and office parks, solid, unremarkable structures. But Elias yearned for elegance. He saw architecture not just as problem-solving, but as storytelling. His breakthrough came with a commission for the National Library of Arts, a building that was meant to be a statement. Elias proposed a design that looked impossible, a cantilevered spiral, wrapping upwards like an unfolding scroll. The critics called it a folly. The city council called it a budget nightmare. Elias, however, presented his paper model, showing how the weight was distributed, how the tension cables would bear the load. He spoke not of physics, but of the feeling of light falling on the spiraling walkways. He won the commission. The weight of legacy. The Library of Arts, his masterpiece, stood as a monument to his tenacity. It was the building he'd dreamed of while folding his childhood boats, a structure that seemed to defy gravity. It brought him fame, awards, and more commissions than he could handle. Yet success brought its own peculiar burden. Elias became less a creator and more a manager of a large firm. His days were filled with meetings, budgets, and the politics of construction. The clean, quiet joy of the drafting table was replaced by the stressful hum of the boardroom. He built skyscrapers that touched the clouds and plazas that sprawled for acres, but each one felt less like a passion project and more like a transaction. He was building for the world's needs, not his own soul. He found solace in a small, private ritual. Every Sunday, he would clear his grand mahogany desk, take out a single sheet of heavy, textured paper, and fold a perfect crane. No tape, no glue, just folds. It was his anchor, a silent 2-minute return to the purest form of creation. The final fold. Elias lived a long life, eventually retiring to a small house by the sea not far from the town he was born in. He spent his final decades watching the tides, the same tides that had lifted his youthful paper fleet. One crisp autumn evening, his granddaughter, a girl with his same intense, curious eyes, sat beside him. She held a picture of the Grand National Library of Arts. "Grandpa," she whispered, "how did you know it wouldn't fall down?" Elias smiled, a slow, wrinkled smile that reached his eyes. He didn't speak of foundation depth or steel alloys. He reached for a napkin, smoothed it out, and with slow, deliberate movements, folded a simple, unadorned paper boat. He set it gently on the wooden table. "Because, my dear," he said, his voice raspy but clear, "because I learned that the strongest structures aren't just built to stand up. They're built to float, to carry an idea, a vision from one place to another. And if the idea is good, it will always find its way." Elias Vance, the man who built cities, passed away peacefully in his sleep that winter, leaving behind a legacy of stone and light. But perhaps the most enduring thing he left was a small, perfectly folded paper boat sitting on a windowsill, waiting for the rain.